What is good, YouTube? It's Joey, and are you not entertained? Today, we are bringing you, guys, my Super Bowl 56 predictions, my playoff predictions, who is winning the Super Bowl this year. Like and subscribe, road to 400, turn on post notifications so you don't miss an upload. But without further ado, comment down below what you think of these predictions. Mind you, this is my opinion, so stuff can change. But anyways, let's get straight into this video. So, the wild card weekend, we have all of our predictions done, the division winners, the wild card makers. Let's get straight into the matchups. Patriots, Titans. This one's going to be an interesting matchup. Julio Jones, of course, got traded to the Titans. And everyone's like, oh, Titans, could they make the Super Bowl? Could they make the Super Bowl? I've been thinking this whole offseason, man, the Patriots are a Super Bowl contending team. They're no team to mess with, and their secondary is pretty deep with Devin McCourty. They have Stephon Gilmore, J.C. Jackson, guys that can match up with these Titans wide receivers. Gilmore versus Jones is going to be a really good matchup. I'm excited to see that. Some point in the season, I hope we can see that matchup sometime. But that would be a really interesting matchup there. So, Derrick Henry running the ball here. The Patriots obviously struggle with this in the past. Bill Belichick got some guys up front to really try to slow this down more. Dante Hightower's coming back from an opt-out. They got Godshaw, Lawrence Guy in there, Adam Butler, who's really big inside. So Derrick Henry should probably rush for a decent gain here, a decent game. But Titans defensively, they're kind of Jeffrey Simmons or bust on that defensive line. Bud Dupree is an edge rusher on the outside, kind of an outside linebacker, edge rusher type player. Harold Landry, the same. They got to let them both rush the quarterback. That's where they're best at. And Bud Dupree can create opportunities, but the Patriots are a really good offensive line, and I think running the football is going to be their mentality. They are a run-first team, although the Titans do have good linebackers. The secondary is a question mark with Janoris Jenkins and Caleb Farley with his back injury. So, who wins this matchup? I'm going to take the New England Patriots in this. It's a really close matchup. Mac Jones or Cam Newton, who's going to start, I don't know, but I'm going to say Bill Belichick wins the coaching matchup. He's going to try to slow down Derrick Henry. I think the Patriots do have one of the better defenses in football and one of the few that can do just enough to slow the Titans. They also have Matt Judon and Kyle Van Noy coming back too. So they have a lot of underrated guys, a lot of guys that are really good on the defensive end. And I think that offensive line versus the Titans front seven and the Titans secondary being kind of weak. Nelson Aguilar did have a really nice improvement season last year. And then Jacoby Myers also came out of nowhere and was the Patriots' best receiver last year. Jonnu Smith, Hunter Henry, Kendrick Bourne, they're all really, really good. And the tight ends are really good. Bourne is pretty solid as a route runner. He's a pretty good route runner. So I'm going to say the Patriots get this one. It's going to be a narrow one. It could go either way. I would not be surprised at all if the Titans won this matchup. It's just, I think it's a tough one there. Bills, Chargers, next. I just think this is a really tough matchup for the Chargers. Their secondary is going to struggle in this game because Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, Cole Beasley, and Emmanuel Sanders are all really good passing options. The Chargers secondary is not going to match up well versus that. Derwin James, we don't even know if he's going to be healthy. They drafted Asante Samuel, but I don't think the Chargers secondary is up for the challenge. I think this is going to be a high-scoring game, but I trust the Bills secondary more. With Tre'Davious White, Jordan Poyer, Micah Hyde, those guys, I think they're just better overall. Although Justin Herbert should have time to throw and they should score some points, I don't think they can keep up with the Bills in this matchup. So I'm taking the Bills to advance the divisional round. Next, you got the Chiefs Ravens. The Ravens do not match up well with the Chiefs, especially now the Chiefs have a really good offensive line to protect Mahomes. And the Ravens lost their two best pass rushers with Yannick Ngakoue and Matt Judon, so they're going to be relying on Jason Owe for the most of the time. Orlando Brown Jr. Revenge match? Question mark? He's the new left tackle for the Chiefs. Joe Tooney is really good in left guard position. He's coming in for the Chiefs. So the Chiefs' offensive line is much improved. They're really good. So I'm going to take the Chiefs. The Ravens secondary, although good with Marlon Humphrey, Marcus Peters, they just struggle matching up with the speed of the Chiefs. Travis Kelce is really good too. You saw last year the Chiefs' offense, Andy Reid was able to scheme things up. Lamar Jackson and the Ravens are going to have to get a run game going, but again, the Chiefs did a good enough job defensively to slow down the Ravens. I think it's a bad matchup. It's also in Arrowhead Stadium, in the Chiefs Stadium. So I'm going to take the Chiefs. So in the NFC, you have the Niners versus the football team. The football team is going to have one of the best defenses in football, and I'm going to say it's a top 5 defense. But this one's going to be interesting because the Niners have a pretty good offensive line, led by Trent Williams, who just got paid a ton of money, a ton of cash, just edged out David Bakhtiari for the highest paid left tackle in NFL history. So that is pretty insane. I'm going to say this one's going to be interesting. The football team, it's going to be a physical battle up front between the Niners offensive line and the football team's front seven. That's going to be a really physical matchup. So I'm going to say that defensively, the Niners pass rush is going to do just enough to make Fitzpatrick uncomfortable. I think Kyle Shanahan's really the difference here with his scheme and plan. I'm going to take the 49ers here over the football team. This one could go either way. The football team does have the wide receiver core to beat the 49ers secondary. But I'm going to say the 49ers win this one and move on to the divisional. Who knows if it's Jimmy Garoppolo or Trey Lance playing, but either one, I think the 49ers can just squeak this one out because of Kyle Shanahan's scheme. He's really good with scheming up the run and pass games and making the defense kind of confused, what are they actually doing? It's going to be interesting. I'm just going to take the 49ers. It just goes back and forth, but I'm going to stick with it. 49ers. All right, so let's move on to the Seahawks-Rams. This is a really tough matchup for the Seahawks because of their depleted offensive line, and Aaron Donald and Leonard Floyd can get after the quarterback quite easily because Aaron Donald, he draws all the attention. He draws the double teams, triple teams, makes guys around him better. You saw last year the Rams were able to defeat the Seahawks with John Wolford at quarterback easily. So now with Matthew Stafford at quarterback, it should be even easier. The Seahawks lost their best corner in Shaquille Griffin in free agency too. So with Cooper Kupp, Robert Woods, and those guys, I think it should be easy for the Rams to score points. They also were able to easily run the ball with Cam Akers last time around, so they can also do that. And Sean McVay is a really bright offensive mind. So I'm going to take the Rams here to defeat the Seattle Seahawks quite easily. You have the Arizona Cardinals versus the Green Bay Packers. I'm assuming that Aaron Rodgers is playing this game. I'm assuming he's going to play for the season. The only way he's not is if he sits out. That's the only way because he's under contract, so he should be playing for the Packers this year. But you never know, something could happen, but it's really stalemate right now. We'll update you, and we'll update this if need be. But the Packers, Cardinals, it's going to be interesting. Devontae Adams, Jair Alexander, that's going to be a really interesting matchup for me. It's going to be Kyler Murray in the run game against Joe Barry's defense. Joe Barry is a specialist in the linebacker group, so you know, it's going to be interesting to see what they do there. But I think this is going to be Cliff Kingsbury versus Matt LaFleur, and I'm going to take Matt LaFleur all day long. I think the Packers have a pretty good secondary too, so I'm going to take the Packers just slightly over the Cardinals here. It's also in Lambeau Field. If it was in Arizona, maybe I lean towards the Cardinals, but I'm going to take the Packers here in a narrow victory. So we're moving on to the divisional. So the divisional round matchups here, you got the Buffalo Bills versus the Kansas City Chiefs. So I think this is going to be an interesting matchup because we got this AFC Championship rematch up in here. We got Josh Allen versus Patrick Mahomes, but the Bills secondary really struggled last time around versus the Chiefs. Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce went crazy. They couldn't really cope with Travis Kelce's route running and Tyreek Hill's speed over the top. And the Bills, they just don't have the pass rush here. Gregory Rousseau they drafted, but again, he's really raw. I don't think he's going to really do much here in his rookie season. Maybe he could become a good pass rusher a couple years down the line, but as of right now, he needs to add more bulk to his frame, and he has a lot to learn. He's more of a speed pass rusher, kind of edge rusher guy, but I think Rousseau is not quite ready for the NFL level, although he has a lot of talent. So, anyways, the Bills struggled last year. The Chiefs defense did a good job against the Bills. They were able to force Allen out of the pocket and blanket his receivers. I think the Chiefs defense can do a similar thing to that this time around. So it's also in Kansas City again. So I'm going to take the Chiefs here, pulling away from the Bills. Again, I don't think it's a good matchup for the Bills. So Chiefs over the Bills. Man, let's move on. So we got the Browns versus the Patriots here. It's in Cleveland. Two very good offensive lines, two very good run games. The quarterbacks, I'm going to take Mayfield over Mac Jones or Cam Newton. Bill Belichick versus Kevin Stefanski. It's going to be a really interesting matchup. The Patriots secondary versus the Browns weapons. That could be really difficult for Mayfield. The front seven of New England, can they hold up versus that Browns offensive line? But the Patriots have to defend Derrick Henry and now Nick Chubb and Julio and Odell, and they had to defend these both elite offenses, Titans, Browns, back to back. So, man, Bill Belichick is going to have to come out with the defensive game plan, and these defenders for New England are going to have to step up. Anyways, you have the Browns secondary. I think they could do a good job blanketing these Patriots receivers, but the tight ends, Jonnu Smith and Hunter Henry, are going to be a tough matchup for these Browns linebackers. Although I'm going to take the Browns. I think Stefanski, I think that offensive line can overpower that Patriots front seven. I think the Patriots are going to be worn out. The Browns are coming off the bye since they're the 1 seed. And I think the Patriots are going to be a little bit worn out. And I'm taking Mayfield over Cam Newton or Mac Jones at this point. The Browns have one of the best rosters in football. They're up there with the Buccaneers. So let's go on to the NFC. So we have the Packers. Let's go on to the NFC. We have the 49ers versus the Buccaneers. The Buccaneers are coming off the bye. They have one of the best rosters, if not the best roster. In my eyes, they do have the best roster. In football, they have all their restarters turning from the Super Bowl run. Brady has all the weapons in the world. I think he's going to be sitting comfortable because the Buccaneers offensive line only allowed 2 sacks last postseason on Brady. He had all the time he wanted to throw. And the 49ers secondary is quite depleted. I think this is a bad matchup for the San Francisco 49ers. So I'm going to take Tampa Bay Buccaneers here in quite an easy matchup. So give me the Bucks. Give me the Bucks. And also Todd Bowles' defense, their pass rush, I think can get after it. The 49ers, what do they like to do? They like to run the ball. The Buccaneers have the best run defense in football, and I think that's going to pose a bad matchup for the Niners. So give me the Tampa Bay Buccaneers there. Packers, Rams, it's not in Lambeau this time, and the Rams also have an upgrade at quarterback in Matthew Stafford. So I think Sean McVay versus Joe Barry. Sean McVay is going to probably win that matchup. It's a lot of coaching familiarity here. LaFleur and McVay know each other. LaFleur outdid him last time. But again, Jared Goff had that broken finger, so we'll see what happens this time around. The Packers pass rush was able to get after it, and the stretches of the game when they needed to stop, they were able to get it. The Rams, though, they should be able to run the ball against the Packers' run defense. They're not in the cold tundras of Lambeau Field where their pass rush was, or their front seven run defense was able to improve. They still haven't given Kenny Clark enough help in the interior of the defensive line, and this is an issue. So, again, it's going to be Aaron Rodgers. I'm predicting to be the starter, although the Jordan Love led team could possibly get him this far, but that would be much more unlikely. So, Aaron Donald, the Packers do lose Corey Linsley, so that is a tough one. Jalen Ramsey, I'm going to pick an upset. I think the Packers should be favored in this game, but I'm going to pick the upset. I'm going to go the Los Angeles Rams, although I'm trying not to be biased. I'm trying not to be a homer. I'm trying not to be biased, so I'm not going to be biased. I'm going to pick the Rams, and although I could easily see a rematch of the NFC Championship game of last year, the Packers versus the Buccaneers, I'm going to say Rams, Buccaneers this time, and Chiefs and Browns for the championship game. So let's see who advances to the Super Bowl. The number 1 seeded Browns versus the number 2 seeded Chiefs. Who advances to the Super Bowl? Who represents the AFC? Who becomes the AFC champions? This is going to be a really fun matchup. I think the Browns can score a ton of points on the Chiefs this game. Their offensive line, I think they can handle Chris Jones and Frank Clark. So Baker Mayfield, the Chiefs, their run defense hasn't been good as of late in past seasons. Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt, and then you have Austin Hooper, OBJ, and Jarvis Landry to play action off of and throw the football to. And then the Chiefs are going to have to face a Defensive Player of the Year caliber Myles Garrett, although their offensive line is good. But the Chiefs should be able to score. I think this is going to be a high-scoring game. But I think the Browns have to keep the ball away from the Chiefs and get some defensive stops. And I think this is in Cleveland too, and fans should be back around this time. They have full stadiums in the NBA and stuff. Fans should be back by this time. This is next year in 2022. Fans should be back. So this is going to be a very close game, a very, very close game. The Chiefs and Bucks are in the championship games again. Are we going to get a Super Bowl rematch? Mahomes over Baker Mayfield? I could see that. But I'm going to take the Cleveland Browns to advance to the Super Bowl because they have just had so much talent. I think they have the better roster than the Chiefs. They don't have the best quarterback in the AFC, but the Browns have the best roster in the AFC. I'm saying Andy Reid is a better coach than Kevin Stefanski, but Kevin Stefanski is a really good coach. I think the Browns are built. I think the Browns have an identity. They want to run the ball, play action, and throw the ball down the field. I think that's the Browns. Or hit that intermediate pass game, and Baker is so good on the bootlegs. I think that play action is the way to go in today's NFL. So many teams are seeing success with it, a lot of it. And the Rams, also Sean McVay is a run-first team and play action. That was the way with Jared Goff. But now you have Matthew Stafford, so you can pass the ball more. The Buccaneers have the best run defense in football. This is the NFC Championship game we're moving on to. We have the Browns going to the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl is in SoFi Stadium. Can the Rams get a home Super Bowl? Can Matthew Stafford get his first Super Bowl? It's against the GOAT, Tom Brady, the greatest to do it. And you don't bet against Tom Brady, and he could go to his consecutive Super Bowl, and he's done that many times before. The Buccaneers have the best roster in football. I'm really back and forth on this one. Last year, the Rams were able to beat the Buccaneers with Jared Goff, and now they have Matthew Stafford. Like, that is such an upgrade. Stafford has such a stronger arm. It's going to be in Tampa Bay, this NFC Championship game. It's going to be full of fans, but I think the Buccaneers secondary is quite improved. Carlton Davis, Antoine Winfield, they're pretty underrated back there. Jamel Dean, but I think the Rams receivers and Sean McVay, I think they're going to be a really good pass game. So I'm going to say Aaron Donald also, he draws all the attention on him, and he's able to get other guys like Leonard Floyd and other pass rushers better opportunities and make them better to able to get after the quarterback. They were able to do that last year. The Buccaneers were still figuring themselves out a little bit, but the Rams still have a pretty good defense. They may not be the best defense in the NFL anymore, losing guys like John Johnson and Troy Hill. But they're still pretty good. They're still pretty good. So, you know what? I'm sticking with my prediction. I'm going Rams over Buccaneers in an upset. We're not getting a rematch of Super Bowl 55 this year, although I could see it. Bucs Chiefs fans, I could see you guys playing the Super Bowl again. But I'm going Browns Rams. We're going different this time. So let's see who wins the Super Bowl versus the Browns and the Rams. Super Bowl 56. Who wins this game? It's going to be an away game for the Browns. It's going to be the first no. It's going to be the consecutive time a team is playing at home in the Super Bowl. But it's going to be the first time it's going to be packed full of fans, I think. Because now, by February in 2022, it's going to have packed fans. Although the Rams don't really have that many fans, there might be a lot of bandwagons if they make it to the Super Bowl. There's probably already bandwagons ever since Matthew Stafford joined the Rams. And now that they're looking like a Super Bowl contending team, which they certainly are. But I think the Browns' offensive line is, again, the Buccaneers' offensive line is really good, just like the Browns' offensive line. They're both elite. They're both very elite. Again, though, I'm trying to predict this right. The Rams' pass game with Matthew Stafford and those guys are going to be really good, getting them up to this spot. Myles Garrett, though, they're going to have to deal with him. That's not going to be fun for any team. Honestly, him and Aaron Donald are two of the best defensive players in football, and they're both getting their teams to the Super Bowl. Kevin Stefanski versus Sean McVay, just so many good matchups. It's really going to be one for the ages. I'm saying the Cleveland Browns are going to win Super Bowl 56. I can't believe what I'm saying, but I'm saying it. Whoever thought they'd be saying Cleveland is going to win the Super Bowl? The Rams linebackers are not the strength. They're not their strength. They're a weakness. And Austin Hooper, I think, is going to have a pretty nice game. And Stefanski, I think it's going to scheme his way around to find Baker the opportunities. That offensive line is going to carry them so far that they're going to carry them all the way to the Super Bowl. Jedrick Wills, all those guys, man, they just have a really good O-line. They were graded one of the best last year. So Browns are going to be your Super Bowl champs. I think they could get after the quarterback and just do just enough with Denzel Ward, John Johnson, Troy Hill, Greg Newsome, Jayla Kay. They have a lot of great players. The Browns have the best roster in the AFC. So I'm saying they're going to win the Super Bowl over the Rams. My bracket is the Patriots over the Titans, Chiefs over Ravens. This is wild card weekend round. Bills over Chargers, Rams over Seahawks, Packers over Cardinals, Niners over football team. Then you have divisional round, Browns over Patriots, Chiefs over Bills, Rams over Packers, Buccaneers over Niners. Then championship game, Browns over Chiefs, Rams over Bucks, and then Browns over Rams to win the Super Bowl. So let me know, do you agree with this down in the comments section below? The Aaron Rodgers thing, it's probably not going to affect us too much since I didn't have the Packers going past the divisional round. I only had them beating one team, which was the Cardinals. Could the Cardinals win the Super Bowl if the Packers weren't in the playoffs and instead say the Vikings? I don't know. I'd feel like the Cardinals would match up with a team that would take advantage of them and beat them. So no, I think I'd still end up with the same Super Bowl prediction. Let me know down in the comments. Do you agree, disagree? But thank you all so much for watching. See you in the next one. Peace out. The Browns are going to win the Super Bowl, bro. I never thought I was going to say that, but I'm going to say it. This is my prediction. If I get this right, I'm gonna be so happy. But I'm gonna react to this down in the later stretches of the season. When the season is over next year, I'm gonna react to this, and I'm either gonna be like, "Oh, you're really smart," or I'm gonna say, "You're so stupid," or I'm gonna say, "No one saw this coming." So see you in the next one. Like and subscribe. Road to 400. Please share with as many people as possible. Let them know about this channel. Thank you all so much. Peace. Turn on notifications so you don't miss an update.